Right, so chapter 42 was pretty interesting, I must say. Even though it was a bit frustrating as how short it was. I mean, it was pretty damn short and nothing really much happened besides the fact that Hiragi's eyebrows were back. I was like, oh my god, Hiragi's eyebrows are back. I mean, the one thing I was lacking for chapter 41 was Hiragi's eyebrows. Yeah, it was still, they were there, but it wasn't like in full show. I mean, gotta see some of those Hiragi eyebrows. They're like freaking on point, or on fleck, how the cool kids say it nowadays. But yeah, so a lot did happen. Fred's basically taken over, so we know from 41 Fred's kind of taken over as acting Buttnut. But yeah, so what happened is we got to meet two new pregnators, not pregnators, but pregnators. How do you pronounce that word? And they were called, one was called Waldo and one was called Les. Les was introduced in the actual anime at the end of the series in the very, very last part of the episode. Like, it was very, very late introduced. But Les was actually introduced in this chapter in the manga. So what happened is we got into Russia and they were like, oh, well, something's actually happened to Japan. And then basically Fahrenheit comes, like, conference and says, basically, Krul had a hand in the Seraph Of The End experiment. And it was all like, oh, beep, she's a traitor. And it's kind of like, yeah, didn't see that one coming, didn't we? And then what happened is Fahrenheit's acting a bit cruel. I will see myself out now. That was a pretty terrible joke, but I must say it's pretty good. It's a pretty good pun. Yeah, so Farrah's actually a bit cruel towards Krul, and yeah, so that's happened in that regard. And then the other part of it is basically Yu is still the King of Salt, or we would imagine he's the King of the Salt. King Salt. However you want to say it. But basically, yeah, he's still the King of Salt. So he's still embodying in that thing. And I'm actually still thinking Gurren's actually still possessed by the previous yandere girlfriend. Or he did kind of kill her, but she's kind of yandere now. But I'm guessing, like, he's still possessed. He still doesn't really act like a normal, like, human being. He's still kind of like, act like he's possessed. But maybe he's actually kind of turned up normal, he's a complete buttnut now. Still kind of like him, but he's still kind of a buttnut. So yeah. Mika is like talking to you like, what the F's going on with you, kid? Ah, another pun there. But and he's all like, well, if you don't release me, I will actually murder your souls. And he's all like, well, I can't take that risk. And that's basically where the chapter ends. I was like, waited 2 months for that, and that was the payoff. Unless the whole thing hasn't been translated yet, which I probably imagine it hasn't. So that's basically where it left off in chapter 42. So hopefully, either chapter 42 has already been translated, and that was the worst end to a chapter I've ever seen in my lifetime, or that was basically the biggest cliffhanger I've seen in my lifetime, not too sure. But hopefully they have actually, it's not the end of the chapter. Hopefully there's actually more, so if it actually has to be more, I will actually review the actual chapter if there happens to be a lot more to it, but I don't think there is. But yeah, so overall, pretty good chapter, I must say, even if nothing really much happened, besides now we know Yu is actually still the King of Salt. So Ashimaru didn't really do very much. I thought maybe he might have just like stabbed himself to kind of turn back to normal, but he didn't really do anything. So yeah, that was that. But hopefully, yeah, it's alright. I mean, I didn't like the end of the anime, so I'm glad they actually kind of divert from the end of the anime, even if it's just a little bit. But now Hiragi and Gurren are attacking the actual, like, kind of precinct where Fred and Crawley are, so that's going down at the moment. So I'm guessing maybe Crawl will be handed over to the actual, like, Japan forces, but then that'll be kind of pointless since they kind of actually are acting with them, so don't know what's going to happen there. But anyway, with all that said, have a driver. If you leave a like, do leave a like. It's having quite a bit. If you leave a sub, do leave a sub. It does have me quite a bit. With all that said, have a driver. And I'll see you guys later. Bye for now.